A growing number of Israeli soldiers have started to speak out against the 15-month conflict in Gaza and are refusing to serve, saying they saw or did things that crossed ethical lines. While the movement is small, some 200 soldiers signed a letter saying they'd stop fighting if the government didn't secure a ceasefire. Soldiers say it's the tip of the iceberg and they want others to come forward. The group behind the refusal letter, Soldiers for the Hostages, is trying to garner momentum, holding an event earlier this month in Tel Aviv and gathering more signatures. A panel of soldiers spoke about what they'd seen in Gaza. Organizers distributed poster-sized stickers with a Martin Luther King Jr. quote, "One has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws." Several said they were ordered to burn or demolish homes that posed no threat, and they saw soldiers loot and vandalize residences. Yuval Green, a 27-year-old medic, described abandoning his post last January after spending nearly 2 months in Gaza. Unable to live with what he'd seen. He said soldiers desecrated homes, using black markers meant for medical emergencies to scribble graffiti, and looted homes, looking for prayer beads to collect as souvenirs. The final straw, he said, was his commander ordering troops to burn down a house, saying he didn't want Hamas to be able to use it. Green said he sat in a military vehicle, choking on fumes amid the smell of burning plastic. He found the fire vindictive. He said he saw no reason to take more from Palestinians than they'd already lost. He left his unit before their mission was complete. But some who fought and lost colleagues call the movement a slap in the face. More than 830 Israeli soldiers have been killed in the war, according to the army. Soldiers are required to steer clear of politics, and they rarely speak out against the army. The soldiers' refusal to serve comes at a time of mounting pressure on Israel and Hamas to wind down the fighting.
יש את אלה שלא רוצים לקום באמצע הלילה לחלץ רכב, יש את אלה שלא רוצים לחלץ לפלוגה הזאת כי הנהג זרק להם הערה לא במקום.
אני בעצם, ההתלבטויות שלי בנוגע למה שצריך לעשות התחילו ממש כמה ימים אחרי ה-7 לאוקטובר. אני חושב שלי זה היה נראה ברור שהמלחמה והמבצע הצבאי הוא לא הדרך להחזיר את החטופים. זה היה נראה לי רעיון פשוט הזוי, איך אנחנו מרשים לעצמנו להפציץ את עזה, להרוג פלסטינים בכמויות, שזה פשוט דבר נורא לכשעצמו, אבל הדבר שהפתיע אותי, לא ציפיתי שישראל יהיה איזה רחמים מיוחדים לפלסטינים, ישראל לא ידועה ברחמים כאלה, אבל לא חשבתי שנסכן ככה את החטופים. אני חשבתי שהמלחמה תסתיים בצורה מאוד פשוטה, שנחתום על עסקה מאוד מהר, ומהר מאוד התבדיתי.
עדיין במשבר, אני חושב שהשאלה המוסרית כוללת בכלל לממשלה הפוליטית.
Now, when Israel is saying that it's burning down a house that is inflicting destruction due to military causes, what it's really saying is trying to just explain itself. It has absolutely no idea why soldiers in the field are doing things. Soldiers in the field have a lot of freedom of act. They can do pretty much whatever they want and they won't be accountable. So when my commander told me to burn down a house, he didn't do it because he believed that this was used for terror or something like that. He did it because he just was apathetic towards the lives of Palestinians. So I've seen destruction done to houses all around because of military purposes. We had to shoot towards houses to make sure we're not entering a death trap, for instance. And things like that felt a lot like they make sense. But when you're burning down a house, when you're doing something very severe for absolute no military reason, then that's the time when I have to say I'm not willing to participate.
Soldiers who served during this war signed a letter saying we're not gonna play along with this game anymore. Enough is enough. Enough manipulation, political manipulation of this war. We're not going to be pawns in your war anymore, and we're raising our voice. We're not calling we appreciate soldiers. We appreciate the IDF. We do not appreciate a government who uses the IDF as a chessboard for their political game. And we see that as something that is both anti-human and anti-Israel.
As a therapist, I see the suffering of both sides, and especially the suffering of Israeli soldiers and civilians that are experiencing trauma after trauma after trauma with no end near. And that by the end of the day, the fatigue, the compassion fatigue for each other will kill us all. So we need to stop this war.
The Houthi group reported that the American-British coalition launched airstrikes targeting Yemen's northern Amran province. 31 airstrikes have reportedly hit Houthi-controlled Yemen so far. According to the Houthi-affiliated Al Masirah TV channel, the American-British aggression was aimed at the Harf Sufyan district in Amran. The Houthi group has controlled Amran since 2014, and the province lies about 50 kilometers north of Yemen's capital Sana'a. Yemen's Houthis attacked Israel again with a drone despite a major joint strike by the US, UK against them. Air Force defense systems intercepted the drone at an undisclosed location in southern Israel without sounding alert sirens, suggesting that there had been confidence that the threat would be contained, the military announced. There had been some hope that the combination of multiple more aggressive US attacks on the Houthis earlier last week, along with the joint attack on Friday, the largest of its kind against the Houthis since the start of the war, might finally deter the Houthis from attacking Israel. Last drone attack seemed to pour cold water on those hopes, though a drone is a lesser threat than a ballistic missile, and the Houthis have not fired a ballistic missile on Israel since January 5.